Experience 21st century learning. Experience friendships that last a lifetime. Experience the world through international opportunities at West Virginia State University. Experience a dynamic learning environment with over 80 areas of study, intimate class sizes, and affordable tuition. West Virginia State University. Experience the power of education.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Welcome back. I'm here with Jason Slay, assistant coach of the men's basketball team. Thanks for coming, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you on here. Let's go back to senior night. Just talked to Coach Poore about it a little bit. You guys came out and really played extremely well in that game.
Yeah, like Coach Poore said, just reflecting what he said, emotional night for the seniors. You know, we had a lot of them this year, 6 of them. So like he said, we changed the lineup a little bit, but I think we came out and played well. We were on the edge. Once we got up, we got a little sloppy, but for the most part, we were pretty good.
Yeah, no question about it. You mentioned how emotional it was for these seniors as as they come out, they're playing in front of their families, and it's the last home game as a player. So how did you think your team dealt with that emotion going into that game?
I think we did well, because you have a lot of local kids on our team, Cookie and Will Collins. Also Will Thomas, who, he's from Cleveland, but he went to WVSU. So those guys, I think it was extra emotions for them. But for the most part, I think our whole team handled it well, and we had good leadership that day.
Yeah, no question about that. The Coach Poore mentioned the starting lineup. Greg Giddings, Todd Hutchinson, along with 3 other seniors, got to start. He said Cookie, gave up his starting spot so that they could get those starts. So that was a great gesture, and it was good to see those guys get the start.
Yeah, definitely. Greg Giddings is a great guy, great teammate. This is his first year here, and he's just totally bought into our system and just what we expect of him. And, I mean, it was just great for him to get a chance to, get his name called and, be a part of it.
Yeah, and Todd, he's been such a leader for this team this season. He's a guy, I know you like him a lot. He's a guy that's very vocal. He's an energy guy, and he brings some good minutes off the bench. He plays with a lot of energy. So talk a little bit about Todd Hutchinson and what he does for this team.
Yeah, as I told you before, I love Todd. He's a 4-year guy from Winfield. I knew Todd back in high school, and I can't say enough about him. On and off the court, he's a great guy, great kid, great student, good player, and he's just a tremendous help to us as a whole program.
Now let's go into a little bit about your background. This is your 3rd season as the assistant coach for Coach Poore. You played 4 years for him, so just talk a little bit about the transition from player to coach.
It was a pretty good transition. I kind of knew my senior year that I wanted to be part of the coaching staff, so kind of just fell into it, and Coach Poore's been great to me, and I've learned so much, and I just want to keep it going, and I can't say enough about the opportunity I've had given to me.
How much does your understanding of the system change when when you're a player? We've talked a little bit about this before, how when you're a player it's a little bit different from when you're a coach, you have to see the big picture, whereas a player you just kind of have your role. And so just talk about the system and how your understanding of it really changed to a new level as a coach.
Yeah, it definitely changed because just more film watching, it's more meetings, just more preparation towards it. I didn't realize that as a player, how much time that, the coaches invest into it, but that's basically the main transition that I had to make is just, like I say, watching film on my own and, meeting. And I mean, we meet every night after the games and just critique everything and, try to polish everything up and make things better. And whatever we do to try to make the program better, that's what we try to do. And we do it on an everyday basis.
We talked about senior night. The next game after that was, of course, the UC game. played in their gym. It was a very, you talk about an emotional night. This is like senior night was. This was a kind of hostile. The crowds were loud and yelling for both teams. There was over 1,300 people there at that game, which was the biggest, most attended game you've played in this season. So just how about that game, that atmosphere?
Well, it's always a great game, great rivalry, like you say, 11 miles apart. But I thought it was a great preparation game for us going into the tournament. I thought we handled it really well. I thought UC came out and attacked us, and we just responded. And last 5 or 6 minutes, I thought we were just tougher than them, and we ended up pulling it out. So I thought it was a great preparation game going into the tournament.
Yeah, and now so many players really stepped up, had good performances in that game. The first half didn't go exactly as planned, as UC went in the halftime with the lead. What was the feeling like at halftime, and what adjustments did y'all make?
Well, we told our guys we just have to attack them. We felt like we were on our heels. That's what Coach Port was telling them at halftime. Felt like we weren't their aggressor. They were the aggressor on defense and offensive end. So we just made that adjustment because that's the way we play. That's our style of play, aggressive, up-tempo. So once we make that adjustment, I thought everything just kind of fell in place.
Cookie Miller had 20 points in the second half of that game. When he gets on a run like that, it seems like the rest of the team just jumps on his back. And anytime we've seen him go on a run like that, we've seen this team just been able to come out with big wins.
Yeah, definitely. Cookie Miller, I always tell him before every game, every time out, I tell him if you lead, they'll follow. And once he just gets that look about him, and once he puts us on his back, everybody just falls in place and just follow his lead. And I think he does a good job of taking care of that.
Yeah, and he's kind of everything goes through Cookie, it seems like, out there on the floor. How has he adjusted from a year ago to this year, where last year it was him and Darren Jones out there running kind of a dual point guard system. This year, he handles the ball majority of the time for your team. How has he been able to make that adjustment for the team?
I thought it was a rough adjustment for Cookie at the beginning of the year. We were really on him about, you got to get the ball and get us in our offense. You also got to score. And then with that, I thought he put too much pressure on himself at the beginning of the year. So now I think he's just accepted the role and fell into it. And like I say, once he lead, they'll follow. So I thought he's made a good transition of making that adjustment.
And he has such different stats from night in to night out. And you talk to him. I asked him, as a leading scorer, I asked him a question like that, and he said, I don't think of myself as a scorer. I just think about myself as a person who's going to do what needs to be done. Yeah. And that says a lot. That says a lot about his character and his mentality out there on the basketball court.
Oh, yeah. That just goes back to him wanting Greg Eddington to start in his place. You know what I mean? That's just the kind of person Cookie is. He's not selfish at all about his team. And I just think he's a great player, and, he's just phenomenal.
And a couple great performances a couple nights ago in the first round of the WVSU tournament here at home in the pit. As, of course, Corey Bethea had his career high. Cookie Miller had 21 points and 10 assists. Just a great performance all around.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a great team win last night, as Coach Port said. Corey Bethea was just lights out. And like you say, Coach Port challenged him defensively. And I thought that's how he got in the flow of everything. And once he challenged himself defensively and got down and guarded, I think everything just happened offensively because, that's what we brought Corey here to do. We knew he could score, so it's just, buying in defensively, and then everything else fell in place. Cookie, I think he can get 10 assists every night, you know what I mean, because he just he just draws so much attention to himself, and he can score as well. So it was a great team win.
As you move forward in the tournament, last night, though, was the last game at Fleming Hall for these seniors officially. I know they played on senior night, but we got about a minute left, and just every senior, they got their moment there at the end of the game where it was the game was in hand, and they kind of, Coach Port took them out one by one. They all got their ovations. That was a great moment last night.
Yeah, it was. It was really great. I can remember when we got the same thing for me when I was a senior as well, but I think Coach Port does a great job of that, of honoring our seniors and letting everybody else honor them as well.
Move forward in the WVSU tournament, UC, that's going to be a big game tomorrow, or it's going to be a big game at the Civic Center, third game against UC this season.
Oh, yeah, it'll be exciting, 3 o'clock, it'll be exciting, but we're ready, and once we get over at that Civic Center, it's time to cut down the net Saturday night. That's our focus.
All right, thank you very much, man. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Well, that does it for another episode of the Coach's Corner. Thanks to our guests, Renee Bostic, Brian Port, and Jason Slay. To follow all WVSU athletics, just go to WVSUYellowJackets.com. You can hear all the radio broadcasts by clicking on the Listen Live link on the webpage. Join us every Thursday night at 7 o'clock right here on Suddenlink Channel 22. For all of us at Coach's Corner, I'm Scott Wagner, and I'll see you next week.